The Family of David by Louis Ginzberg. David had 6 wives, including Michal, the daughter of Saul, who is called by the pet name Eglah, Kafkin, in the list given in the Bible narrative. 131 Michal was of entrancing beauty, 132, and at the same time the model of a loving wife. Not only did she save David out of the hands of her father, but also, when Saul, as her father and her king, commanded her to marry another man, she acquiesced only apparently. She entered into a mock marriage in order not to arouse the anger of Saul, who had annulled her union with David on grounds which he thought legal. Michal was good as well as beautiful. She showed such extraordinary kindness to the orphan children of her sister Merab that the Bible speaks of the 5 sons of Michal, whom she bore to Adriel. Adriel, however, was her brother-in-law and not her husband, but she had raised his children, treating them as though they were her own. 133 Michal was no less a model of piety. Although the law exempted her as a woman from the duty, still she executed the commandment of using phylacteries. 134 In spite of all these virtues, she was severely punished by God for her scorn of David, whom she reproached with lack of dignity, when he had in mind only to do honor to God. Long she remained childless, and at last, when she was blessed with a child, she lost her own life in giving birth to it. 135 But the most important among the wives of David was Abigail, in whom beauty, wisdom, and prophetical gifts were joined. With Sarah, Rahab, and Esther, she forms the quartet of the most beautiful women in history. She was so bewitching that passion was aroused in men by the mere thought of her. 136 Her cleverness showed itself during her first meeting with David, when, though anxious about the life of her husband Nabal, she still, with the utmost tranquility, put a ritual question to him in his rage. He refused to answer it because, he said, it was a question to be investigated by day, not by night. Thereupon Abigail interposed, "That sentence of death likewise may be passed upon a man only during the day. Even if David's judgment were right, the law required him to wait until daybreak to execute it upon Nabal." David's objection that a rebel like Nabal had no claim upon due process of law, she overruled with the words, "Saul is still alive, and thou art not yet acknowledged king by the world." Her charm would have made David her captive on this occasion if her moral strength had not kept him in check. By means of the expression, "and this shall not be unto thee," she made him understand that the day had not yet arrived, but that it would come when a woman, Bathsheba, would play a disastrous part in his life. Thus she manifested her gift of prophecy. Not even Abigail was free from the feminine weakness of coquetry. The words, "Remember thine handmaid," should never have been uttered by her. As a married woman, she should not have sought to direct the attention of a man to herself. Among the sons of David, Adonijah the son of Haggith must be mentioned particularly. The pretender to the throne, the 50 men whom he prepared to run before him, had fitted themselves for the place of heralds by cutting out their spleen and the flesh of the soles of their feet. That Adonijah was not designated for the royal dignity was made manifest by the fact that the crown of David did not fit him. This crown had the remarkable peculiarity of always fitting the legitimate king of the house of David. 139 Chilib was a son worthy of his mother Abigail. The meaning of his name is like the father, which had been given him because of his striking resemblance to David in appearance, a circumstance that silenced the talk against David's all-too-hasty marriage with the widow of Nabal. 140 Intellectually too, Chilib testified to David's paternity. In fact, he excelled his father in learning, as he did even the teacher of David, Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan. 141 On account of his piety he is one of the few who have entered paradise alive. 142 Tamar cannot be called one of the children of David, because she was born before her mother's conversion to Judaism. Consequently, her relation to Amnon is not quite of the grave nature it would have been, had they been sister and brother in the strict sense of the terms. To the immediate household of David belonged 400 young squires, the sons of women taken captive in battle. They wore their hair in heathen fashion, and, sitting in golden chariots, they formed the vanguard of the army, and terrified the enemy by their appearance. 143